Every disciplined man was once undisciplined. Every strong mind was once weak. Bruce Wayne wasn't born with unstoppable discipline. He built it one habit at a time, one difficult decision at a time, one promise kept at a time. So ask yourself something honest. Why do you keep quitting? Why do you keep breaking promises to yourself? Why does discipline disappear after only a few days? What if 7 habits could completely rebuild your identity? Today, you're going to learn the 7 habits Bruce Wayne would use to turn an undisciplined man into someone mentally unbreakable. And habit number 7 is the one that changes everything. Stay until the end. Bruce Wayne didn't wake up one day as the world's greatest symbol of discipline. Bruce Wayne was broken first, a boy shattered by loss, a mind consumed by fear, a body untrained, untested, unprepared. What made him different wasn't talent, it was repetition. Daily habits repeated with relentless consistency until discipline stopped being a choice and became identity. That's the mission today. 7 habits. Bruce Wayne's habits. The habits that turn undisciplined men into something the world mistakes for fearless. Let's begin. Keep promises to yourself. Before Bruce Wayne fought criminals, he fought himself. Every night alone in that cave, he made a decision. Nobody was watching. Train again. Study again. Prepare again. Not because someone told him to. Because he told himself he would. This is where most men fail before they even begin. They set a goal on Monday and abandon it by Thursday. And every time that happens, something quietly breaks. Not motivation. Trust. Self-trust is built the same way trust is built with another person. Through kept promises. Small ones. Repeated ones. Especially the ones nobody sees. When you tell yourself you'll wake up at 5, and you do, your mind takes note. When you say you'll skip the workout just this once, and you don't skip it, your identity shifts. But when you break that promise, you don't just lose a workout, you lose a fraction of belief in your own word. Do that enough times, and you become a man who doesn't trust himself to follow through on anything. Bruce Wayne never let that happen. He understood something most people never realize. Discipline isn't built in the big moments. It's built in the small, invisible ones. The moments where no one would know if you quit, except you. So here's the question. If your entire identity was built only from the promises you've kept this month, who would you be right now? That answer is the first habit. But keeping promises means nothing if you're only willing to act when you feel like it. Which brings us to the next habit. Train even when you don't feel like it. Bruce Wayne never waited to feel ready. He never waited for motivation to knock on the cave door. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. They show up when it's convenient and disappear the moment things get difficult. Most undisciplined men are waiting for a feeling that was never designed to last. They think discipline means feeling driven every single day. It doesn't. Discipline means acting, especially when the drive is gone. Bruce Wayne trained in pain, trained in exhaustion, trained in silence with no crowd, no applause, no one keeping score. Because he understood something most people avoid admitting. Comfort doesn't build strength. Consistency does. Every rep he added, every night he stayed in that cave instead of resting, was a vote for the man he was becoming. This is where most people quit. Not because the work is too hard, but because they're only willing to work when it feels good. The moment it feels heavy, they retreat to comfort. And comfort is the quiet killer of discipline. Bruce Wayne didn't ask, "Do I feel like training today?" He asked, "What does the mission require?" That single shift from feeling-based action to mission-based action is where undisciplined men begin becoming unstoppable. But here's what most people never realize. You can train your body relentlessly and still lose everything if you can't control your mind. That's the next habit, and it's where real strength begins. Master your emotions. Before Bruce Wayne controlled Gotham, he controlled himself. Anger nearly destroyed him after his parents' death. Rage wanted to consume him. But Bruce Wayne understood something most undisciplined men never learn. An uncontrolled mind cannot control anything else. Emotional outbursts, impulsive decisions, reacting instead of responding. These aren't signs of strength. They're signs of a man still being controlled by his emotions instead of controlling them. Bruce Wayne trained his mind the same way he trained his body, daily, deliberately, without excuses. Stoicism wasn't a personality trait for him. It was a discipline. He learned patience in silence, calmness under pressure, restraint when provoked. Most men explode when tested. Bruce Wayne only becomes quieter, because he knows something most people never realize. The moment you lose emotional control, you lose strategic control. Every disciplined decision, every calculated risk, every calm response in chaos comes from a mind that has already mastered itself. This is where undisciplined men begin to separate from the crowd, not through anger, through composure. But mastering your emotions means nothing if your attention is scattered in 100 directions. Which leads to the next habit, the one destroying more men today than any villain ever could. Protect your focus. Gotham is chaos. Noise everywhere, distraction everywhere, temptation everywhere. And yet Bruce Wayne moves through it with terrifying precision. Why? Because he protects his focus like it's a weapon. Most undisciplined men today aren't lazy, they're distracted. Their attention is fractured across notifications, scrolling, noise, and endless stimulation. And discipline cannot survive in a fractured mind. Bruce Wayne never allowed distraction to dictate his actions. Every mission had a purpose. Every night had an objective. Every hour served the larger goal. He understood something most people never realize. Discipline dies exactly where distraction grows. Deep focus isn't natural anymore. It has to be protected, guarded, trained like a muscle. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. How much of your potential have you lost scrolling through a screen instead of building your future? Bruce Wayne would never allow his mind to be hijacked by cheap dopamine. He trained his attention the same way he trained his body, with intensity, with purpose, with zero tolerance for distraction. This is where undisciplined men begin reclaiming their power, not by doing more, but by protecting what matters from everything that doesn't. But focus alone isn't enough, because comfort will always try to pull you back. Which is exactly why Bruce Wayne did something most people are terrified to do. Seek discomfort daily. Most men run from pain. Bruce Wayne walks toward it, not recklessly. Deliberately every day he chose difficulty on purpose. Harder training, longer hours, situations designed to break weaker men. Because he understood something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Growth only happens on the other side of discomfort. Comfort feels safe, but comfort is a slow death for discipline. Every time you choose the easy option, your tolerance for hardship shrinks. And every time your tolerance for hardship shrinks, your ability to handle real pressure shrinks with it. Bruce Wayne never let that happen to himself. He exposed himself to cold, exhaustion, fear, and physical limits, not to suffer, but to expand what he could endure. This is where undisciplined men begin transforming into something unrecognizable, not by avoiding difficulty, but by seeking it. Delayed gratification, controlled suffering, voluntary hardship. These aren't punishments, they're training. Because the version of you that can sit in discomfort without flinching is the version of you nothing can break. But discomfort without direction is just chaos. Which is why Bruce Wayne never made decisions based on emotion or convenience. He followed something deeper, lived by a personal code. Bruce Wayne never asks, "How do I feel today?" He asks, "What does my code demand?" This is the difference between undisciplined men and unshakable men. Undisciplined men make decisions based on mood. Unshakable men make decisions based on principle. Bruce Wayne's code wasn't flexible. It wasn't negotiable based on circumstance. He didn't kill. He didn't abandon his mission. He didn't compromise his values even when it would have been easier. That code became his identity, not a rule imposed on him. A standard he chose, and never betrayed. Most people never realize this. Without a personal code, every decision becomes a negotiation. Should I train today? Should I keep my word today? Should I stay disciplined today? A man without principles is at the mercy of his mood. A man with principles simply acts. Ask yourself something important. What are the standards you refuse to break, no matter how you feel? If you don't have an answer, that's the gap keeping you undisciplined. Bruce Wayne's code gave him consistency because principles don't change with circumstance. Feelings do. This is where the transformation nearly completes itself. But there's one habit left, the one that separates disciplined men from legendary ones. Become the man who never negotiates with himself. This is where everything changes. Most undisciplined men live in constant negotiation. Should I go? Should I stay? Should I push through? Or give myself a break just this once? That internal debate is where discipline quietly dies. Bruce Wayne doesn't negotiate. When the mission calls, he moves. Not because he's fearless, because he decided long ago who he was going to be. And a man who has already decided doesn't need to debate. This is the final transformation. Not doing hard things occasionally. Becoming someone who does them automatically. Someone whose actions are no longer decided by mood, energy, or convenience, but by identity. Undisciplined men ask, do I want to? Unbreakable men ask, is this who I am? When discipline becomes identity, motivation becomes irrelevant. You don't need to feel like training. You train because that's who you are. You don't need to feel like keeping your word. You keep it because that's who you are. This is the moment an undisciplined man disappears completely, and something stronger takes his place. Not because he became perfect, but because he stopped negotiating with his own weakness. Bruce Wayne wasn't respected because he was perfect. He was respected because he refused to betray his standards. Every promise kept, every uncomfortable choice made. Every emotion mastered in silence built a man who no longer depended on motivation to move. The beast isn't the man who overpowers others. The beast is the man who has mastered himself. That's the Bruce Wayne method. If today you're choosing discipline over excuses, comment these 4 words. I don't break promises. Not for this channel, for yourself. Because the hardest promise to keep is always the one you make to yourself.